Hello all. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. And welcome to our first LinkedIn Live event, scaling to 100 plus monthly revenue. I'll wait a few more minutes until it's 3 o'clock for people to arrive. So hold on and sit tight, and we'll start in a few more minutes. Well, again, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. And welcome to the LinkedIn event, scaling to 100K plus monthly revenue. We're covering some essential strategies for B2B companies. And let us start with a quick introduction. I'm Edward Wijnen. I'm the founder of My Growth Hack, and I always call myself a computer science engineer turned sales. I have 25 plus years in helping startups and scale-ups to grow and scale their business, sometimes from 0 to tens of millions in revenue. And with me, I've also got Andrew Struther.
Hi, my name is Andrew Struthers. You can see from the slide that I have over 30 years of experience. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm the founder of Starter Chat. I also have a couple of SaaS platforms and equally have built companies up from 0. One of them was over 80 million pounds a year, turned into a group of companies. So hopefully we can give you some good information on how we done that. So welcome.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Andrew. We're very excited. So we've got a lot to cover, and the purpose for this is to give you an outline of the strategies and the tactics to scale your business. So let's quickly show you the agenda that we have in store for you this session. And as you can see, there's quite a bit for us to cover. And so I want to not spend too much time on it. We're getting started with the basics of scaling, and then we're getting into positioning and analytics and analysis of your market, and then we'll dive into some strategies and your operation side of things. So let's kick in very briefly. Andrew, have you got any other things?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say, everybody watching, you can send comments to us via LinkedIn, and we'll see all the comments. And at the end of the webinar here, we'll do a Q&A session. We'll answer all your questions. So if you wanted to fire some questions through all the way through the presentation, go ahead. It will also let us know that you're there and you're listening. If we can see some questions coming through, that would be fantastic.
All right. Let's get into it, guys. First, we'll start by with the understanding and debate of the basics of scaling, because a lot of people use scaling and growth interchangeably, but I'd like to make a distinction there. They're two different things. One is not specifically better than the other. It's basically two different things. If you look at growing, this is all about a linear increase and a direct relationship between revenue increase and the resources being used. And it's usually focused around market expansion, and whereas opposed to the scaling of things, this is a more or less exponential increase, and there's not really a correlation between the resources being deployed for your scaling, for the revenue increase. And it's all about creating more efficiency and optimization of your processes to attract and to process revenue and to deliver your services. And it's usually paired with high margin products, right? So if you then look at the differences or the comparison between scaling and growth, the levels of the items where we can look at, for instance, on a cost structure basis, as I already explained, when you're growing, you're basically increasing your cost structure as well, which is necessary. I mean, a good example for this is, for instance, growing your sales team. So if you're having a product that requires face-to-face selling, or account managers selling your product by having conversations with customers, growing your business means you need to add more salespeople. And that means that you're growing your cost basis as well. Whereas scaling, if you're growing that, for instance, a good example there is a software company. When you're building a product, and you sell that to 3 people or 300 people, if you can do that through a transactional system, that's not increasing your cost significantly, right? So that hopefully paints a difference between scaling and growing. And again, one is not specifically better than the other. It's just 2 different ways of increasing your revenue in your business. And typically, in many organizations, you need to do both. So that's where we feel it's important to kind of make that distinction, and I hope this creates a bit of clarity around this. Over to you, Andrew.
Okay, all right. So some of the key metrics when scaling. You may be familiar with some of these terms, but I'll quickly run through them. So the first one on the key metrics really is every business should be looking at these key metrics in any business, whether you intend to grow or you're just maintaining. Without looking at these figures or statistics, you're doomed to fail, I would say, or luck is not going to be on your side. So the first one is customer acquisition, the cost of acquiring a new customer, including all the marketing, the sales and expenses. It's important because it helps your business measure the efficiency of their marketing strategies and ensures sustainable growth. So you know what you're spending to get a customer. The lifetime value is the total revenue a business can expect from a single customer account over its entire duration. So if you understand the lifetime value of a customer, it's crucial for determining how much you can invest on acquiring that new customer as the first heading there, cost of acquisition. The third thing is the churn rate. So the percentage of customers who stop using or buying a service from a specific time period. A low churn indicates customer satisfaction and loyalty, which is essential for long-term growth and profitability. So customer retention here. So you'll be monitoring your churn rate in order to track your customer retention. And you would put plans in place to ensure customers are satisfied and you retain them for longer. The next one is your MMR, your monthly recurring revenue. So this is a predictable revenue a business expects to receive every month from subscriptions or recurring payments. MMR is vital for assessing financial health of a business and planning future growth. The next one is the sales cycle length. So this is the average time it takes to close a sale from initial contact to final purchase. Knowing the sales cycle length helps businesses optimize their sales process and forecast revenue more accurately. The next one is the conversion rate, which is the percentage of potential customers who take a desired action, such as making a purchase or signing up. A high conversion rate indicates effective marketing and sales strategies driving a business growth. Okay, those are the points there. I'll move on to the next one.
Yeah, I
So
just want to interject very
yeah,
quickly because we if at the end of this session you can get the 15 key metrics. So these are just 6 of the most important ones. But we have 15 key metrics for you to track. You can download that after the session as well.
okay. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so moving on to market analysis and positioning. So the first thing you got to do is define your market. All right. So you got to identify the industry, the geographic location, and specific segments you are targeting. It's important to clearly define your market to ensure your products or services meet the needs of your target audience and to tailor your marketing efforts effectively. So that's really important. Have to define your market. You need to research your market. You got to utilize both primary and secondary research methods. So primary research includes surveys, interviews, focus groups, providing first-hand insights. Secondary research involves industry reports, marketing studies, competitor analysis, offering a broader understanding. Researching your market is absolutely crucial. And the best way to do that really is by interviewing your customers and asking them what they like about your service and what they don't. And that will allow you to create a good value proposition, which we'll move on to later. And then you've got to analyze the market data. So you've got to look for trends, patterns, insights from your data. Use tools like SWOT analysis, strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats, and pest analysis, political, economic, social, technological factors. So you've got to understand your market environment. So analyze the market data helps your business identify opportunities, mitigate risks, and develop strategic plans. Okay, then moving on to the next one. So now, how do you understand your target audience? And there's a few ways we can break that down. The first being demographics. So age, gender, income, education, occupation. Understanding these factors is crucial for tailoring your products and services and marketing efforts to meet the specific characteristics of your tailored audience, your target audience. Psychographics, interests, behaviors, values, lifestyle choices. These provide insight into a deeper understanding of your customers' motivations and preferences. And customer pain points are very important. Identify the problem and challenges that your audience faces. Addressing these pain points allows you to develop solutions that will directly meet your customers' needs, enhancing satisfaction and loyalty. So all of these things, customer needs and desires, you understand what motivates your customers and the solutions they are seeking. Recognizing these needs, desires is essential for creating products and services that fulfill expectations and drive engagement. So if you can get all of these done and you do the research that you need to do, you'll be creating either a product that meets a market need or a desire. And when you do your marketing, you'll be addressing the customer pain points and providing solutions to their problems. So this is all part of a good marketing message. I'll move on to the next one. Okay, so this is what I mentioned earlier about developing a positioning statement, or you call it a value proposition. So again, we're going to look at the target audience. Who are you addressing? Identifying your target audience ensures your messaging is tailored to meet the specific needs of your preferences of your intended customers. The market definition: in what market or category do you operate? If you clearly define your market, it helps you position your brand with competitive landscapes, making it easier for customers to understand your offering. What's your brand promise? This is an interesting. What unique benefit do you offer? Your brand promise articulates the distinct value or advantages your product or services provide, and it separates you from your competitors. And what is the reason for them to believe you? Why they should believe your brand promise? Providing evidence and such as testimonials, case studies, or unique features helps build credibility and trust in your brand promise. Now, I'm going to give you an example of all of this, what we've just mentioned, and I appreciate I'm going through it rather quick. We have only got an hour here, and like we said, we are growth partners, and we can help you put this together if you so need. So here's an example positioning statement. For small and medium-sized businesses, that's the target audience. Seeking to grow partnerships, and the company name, Start a Chat or My Growth Hack, that's the brand. Operates in the business of consulting and SaaS industry, so that's the market definition. We offer customized solutions and innovative strategies that enable companies to reach their full potential. The brand promise. Our proven track record, experienced team, and client success stories demonstrate our ability to deliver tangible, memorable results. So the reason to believe. Yeah. So that's an example of all of the stuff that we just flew through. The next one we're going to go on to is differentiation strategies. So there are several differentiation strategies. We're looking at product differentiation, service differentiation, brand differentiation, and price differentiation. So each one of these is unique and it has its own values and benefits. So unique features is maybe superior quality, innovative designs, stand out by offering products that provide distinct benefits or superior performance compared to your competitors. The service differentiation, I think it speaks for itself, is you're enhancing your services, your exceptional customer services, personalized experience, after-sale support, also enhances your competitive edge by delivering outstanding services, again, by exceeding your customer expectation. The brand definition, a strong brand identity, a compelling brand story, and emotional connection is important if you build a recognizable and relatable brand that resonates with your audience on a deeper level. And then you have the price differentiation. Now, I'm sure all of you know simply by cutting your prices is not certainly the way to go. It's a race to the bottom, but you can be competitive. But if you'll be taken to all of those things we've just spoken about, you can actually charge more than your competitors. You can be competitive, but offer better value. You can charge more, but you offer better value. And you can ride off the back of social proof and have a better value proposition. So all of the stuff that I've just rushed through should enable you to increase your prices as opposed to being too competitive and racing to the bottom. Okay, I think I'll hand over to Edward now.
Yeah, that's great, Andrew. Good stuff. So yeah, we've now been looking at positioning and crafting a statement, a brand promise, and all those kind of things. So how you put yourself into the market. So now we need to go out to the customers and promote the product and get the customer to help the customer to buy your product or service. So let's have a look at the sales strategy first. By building a scalable sales and marketing strategy. But before we go into more details, I think it's first important to understand a sales funnel. And we typically identify 7 stages within a sales funnel that is mimicking or is synchronized with a buying cycle of your customer. So it's important to understand what phases your prospect and then your customer is going through before they actually become your customer. So the first stage in that is, and I'm aware that this is pretty standard stuff, but I think it's important to kind of understand the implications of all of this, because there's different things you need to do across these stages, which I will cover in a second. So let's look at the first step, the awareness step. This is where your potential customer, your prospect, becomes aware that you have a product or service that may need meeting their needs. So they start to understand that you might be something they need to have a look at. And then the next step would then appear is there is an interest. So in some shape or form, this prospect will basically raise their hand and they show an interest in what you do. So they may have a look at your website, they may sign up for something like an email, or they may download what I call a lead magnet, so something of value for them. But at least they're telling you, maybe with their email address, or maybe they're phoning you, or they're sending you an email, that they're interested in your product. Once they get that information consumed either on your website or on your social media, then this consideration phase kicks in. So then the prospect is looking at your product or service to see if it fits their need, and they're comparing it against your competitors, or looking at other alternatives. So not necessarily your competitor is someone that delivers a similar product or service than you. It could also be that, for instance, if you're delivering a service to create some sort of value for the customer, they can also consider to do this in-house, if you like, right? So they're looking at various options to solve their problem or to take away the pain that they're experiencing at the moment, okay? So once they're going through that cycle, the next step is intent. So basically, I always jokingly call this the customer's threatening with the order. So basically, your prospect is now have done its work, and basically you're starting to negotiate with you around what kind of terms and conditions around your products and services and how to implement this. And so this is really the closing cycle of a deal. And then obviously they send you the order or they sign the agreement and they become a customer. And that's great. So they made a purchase, but then the work is not over. The last stage, which sometimes is being overlooked by, we found many organizations, and that is the retention side of things.
Yeah.
And it's, and I'm sure you've heard it before, but it's at least 4 times more expensive to acquire a new customer than retain an existing one. So it's very important for financial purposes, at least, and also for your growth purposes, is to retain a customer as long as possible. And that, coming back to the key metrics that you can track when scaling your company, is having a big impact on the lifetime value of a customer. The longer you keep the customer, the more opportunity you have to sell them additional services or to continue, especially if you're having a recurring service, to continue selling that service to them. Okay, so that is a very important thing. So with that, these stages, let's have a look at how we can optimize each of the funnel stages. Because as I mentioned before, it's important that you do different things during each and every stage, because the needs of your prospect are different during that sales cycle as they move along these funnel stages. So in the first step, the awareness stage, this is, remember, this is all about, they are starting to understand that you may have a service or product that is solving their problem or pain. Now, you need to then provide all kind of information to educate the customer about your service and why you have such a great product, okay? And therefore, you need to create content for all kind of marketing purposes. So blogs, for instance, is very good. Webinars or videos that people can watch on the social media, like on YouTube or on your website as well, to explain what you are doing and how you're doing it and how it will help your customer. So it's all about educating that prospect about your unique selling points. And again, you can see there the importance to understand who your target audience is. Who is your ideal customer, and what are you selling them? What is the pain from your research that you can allude to in your content that you will solve for this customer, so that it resonates with them and they think, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. I need to dig deeper into what they're doing for me. All right, so the next step then would be the interest stage, where they start having consumed some of your content, where they understand that you may have a good solution. So they want to dive a little bit deeper. And this is where things like white papers, ebooks, and more in-depth knowledge will help them understand how your product or service will solve their problem, right? And so this is where you now need to start doing things like targeted ad campaigns or email campaigns to continue to nurture that invest. You probably have heard strategies like retargeting. So when a person has been on your website in the awareness stage, you can remarket to them through the different channels with specific content to educate them even further on your product or service. So then once you've done that and you help them move to the next stage, is the consideration stage, this is, of course, where, first of all, you need to, of course, show them that your solution is viable and that other people have been using it. So it's all about building trust and remove risk for the prospect. So they've consumed content about your product and service, so they know that it's probably solving it, but then it's all about, are you the right partner for me, right? So this is where these kind of case studies and testimonials, but also demo of your product or showcases of your product will help them understand how it will actually solve this. So again, here you can do retargeting ads to keep your brand top of mind with your prospect. Moving on to the fourth stage, the intent phase. This is where they start showing a clear intent to buy something. Now, especially when you're looking at scaling a business and optimizing the whole sales process, i.e. the conversion of a prospect into a buying customer, this is where you want to make that as frictionless as possible. So you need to provide very clear and compelling call to actions. Buy here, buy now. This is how you do it. Have a very transparent pricing strategy or pricing model to make it easy for the customer to make that decision. And maybe in a more, let's say, person-to-person sales or environment, you still need to provide very clear product and price strategies and buying options for the customer. And to increase the conversion, you can start looking at things like free trials or maybe even a freemium model or discounts or limited time offers to instill some urgency for the customer to think, oh, really, I need to buy now because this is a great deal. And then, of course, the actual purchase happens, and there's no secret there. You need to provide a very smooth and seamless experience for the customer with as least friction as possible. So look at your agreements, look at the process. Don't make it more complex than strictly necessary to make that transaction happen and to start that relationship as a customer. And then, of course, we are looking at the retention. And this is all about creating a very strong relationship with that customer, lock them in for life. They don't want to, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say lock them in. I should say keep them in for life, because I've seen many lock-in strategies, but ultimately they never work. If the customer feels locked in, they don't like that. They should want to stay with you because you're delivering exceptional service and your product or your service is solving that problem. So why should they go away? And this is where a customer success team comes in to help creating that relationship and keeping that relationship and making sure that the customer is getting most benefits from your product or service. Now move on to the marketing channels, and that's really Andrew's forte.
Sure.
Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, thanks, Edward. I mean, one of the things that sticks out from what you were saying there is about the customer journey. So we have a journey that, from the first contact point to the purchasing point is a journey that you've got to make as frictionless as possible. And all of the points that Ed was just saying, so there's little sort of friction to allow the potential prospect to buy is the first part of the customer journey. And then the second part of the customer journey is once they've actually bought something from you, is to make sure that at least for the first 100 days, your customer service and everything else is absolutely exceptional for the long-term retention. And there's many ways you can do that in cost-effective ways to actually keep in touch with your customer. Anyway, okay, so moving on to the overview of effective marketing channels. So I'm sure everybody on this call understands what we're going to cover here, what all these headings are. But there is a saying in the industry, or maybe it's just me, or I picked it up somewhere. It's called the Bananarama syndrome. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. All right. Okay. So the Bananarama syndrome. So you can do content marketing. Absolutely. You can create blogs and you can do everything you want. But if you're pushing out absolute nonsense just for the sake of it, that can be very, a adverse to your brand. So remember we talked about brand earlier. So yeah, content marketing, blog posts, social media posts, interests, all that sort of stuff, great, but done in the right way. So the next we're looking at is a multi-channel cold outreach. So we're looking at emails, phone calls, LinkedIn messages, and direct mail to reach potential customers. Again, it's how you do this. So for example, an easy one, and I'm sure you're all familiar, you're on LinkedIn now, you make a connection with somebody, and the first thing that happens is they try and pitch to you. They offer you their product and services. You don't know them. You may have a desire for that, but I'm sure nobody likes being pitched directly. So the idea there is how you do it is you engage, you actually genuinely look at their blogs, their posts, that whatever they're doing on LinkedIn, you can comment on, you can speak to them about that, join the same groups. And then if you believe that you can offer value to them from your services, then certainly approach them. So, there's ways of doing it, and there's ways to do email as well. There's a lot of AI solutions that we use in what we're doing with our emailing and actually doing research into the business and making it hyper personalized. So there's ways to do it, and there's tools that you can use to do these sort of things. Lemlist, outreach, sales, and many, many, many more. Pay-per-click advertising is it's an animal, so you could quite easily lose your shirt on pay-per-click advertising. So first of all, again, it's going back to the cost per customer, cost per acquisition, and lifetime value. So if you're spending £200 or £300 or dollars getting a customer, and your order value makes sense, isn't it? Your order value is only whatever $50. It's probably not going to be worth it. But if your long-term lifetime value of that customer is $1,000, then it's probably worth it. But taking all of the other matrix into consideration to look at your cash flow, how long will the sales cycle is another one. How long will it take you to get that money back from the money you spent on your pay-per-click advertising? So, like I said, it's an animal because you'll need an expert to do this for you. And you need to make sure that the cost per click is valuable, and make sure that what you're doing is a desired thing that people are actually searching for. So there's a difference with pay-per-click. People are searching for a cleaner in London, and then there will be sponsored adverts that say cleaner in London. So that's people searching for it. So you want to make sure that your service or product is something that people are searching for, in order to let them click and try not to attract window shoppers. So you need an expert to do that. There's a whole lot of keywords and everything else. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. So you be very careful with pay-per-click. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but you need to know all of your matrices first before you venture into that. That's my advice anyway. Yep. So then we move into the next one, search engine optimization. Search engine optimization is a no-brainer. The only thing with that is it's a slow burn. So you're looking at least 6 months before you start seeing any traffic or traction onto your website. So you need an expert on that. You need to have all of the relevant keywords that are people are looking for and searching for, and an SEO expert will set all that up. And that goes hand in hand with all of the content that you're going to create. So if I said earlier, just don't make any old nonsense and send it out there, which will be adverse to your brand. But equally, what you've got to do is you've got to look at those keywords that, if you've got on hashtags and things like that, they are all SEO keywords. So people searching for those, the hashtag comes up, cleaner in London. Oh, that's great. They see your post about how great you clean carpets or whatever it might be, or whatever you're doing. They then get sent over to your social platform and then over to your website. So all of that's all connected together. It's something I think everybody should do if they're taking the business seriously. But the problem is, it's 6, even 9 months before you see a return on that. Now, moving on to social media marketing, and we do a lot of this. And the way social media is working right now is it's very difficult to gain traction from organic posting. So it's okay if you're looking for brand awareness. Again, over time, if you post 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever it might be, depending on your product or services, you will get traction. What that will do is it enables other marketing channels. So if I, for example, reached out to you on LinkedIn and says, hey, would you be interested in my services? One of the things you're probably going to, if you are interested, you might just dismiss it, if I spammed you. But if you were interested, the first thing you would do, you'd go and look at my profile, for example. You'd see who I am, what I do. Perhaps then you might look at my LinkedIn page, and you would have a look at all the posts and stuff that I'm doing within there, and seeing if there's any value in there, seeing if you're an expert in what you say you are, and are you consistent. If you haven't posted for a couple of years, where's this guy? What's going on? So it's not essential, but it's it's very good for the whole picture. We're going to move on to omni-channel marketing in a second, but the whole thing ties into each other. With social media marketing, it's paid advertising here is really good. So again, how much are you prepared to spend? What's your cost per acquisition? What's your conversion rate? How many leads are you getting in? How many are you closing? How many? What's the lifetime value or the immediate value? And can you work it out? Can you spend that 150, 200 per customer? How much is your profit based on that? And then you have your fulfillment off the back of that. So it works really well. Again, now moving on to email marketing. Email marketing, again, it is changing every single week. And there is ways to do it badly, and there are ways to do it extremely well. I don't want to go into the specifics of it, but sending out 1,000 emails from an email address you've bought from Namecheap or something like that, and sending the same repetitive email over and over, it's going to get you blocked. It's going to go directly into spam. Your domain is going to get blocked. So you would buy 10 domains and you put 3 emails onto each domain, for example, or 3 to 5, and you send 30 emails from each email address when you want to do this, and then they'll get through. And you make every single email personable, not just the first name or the company name. You do a little bit of research. So that's how you deliver your email marketing. I'm speaking from experience here. And I know exactly what it's like to do it badly. I've got a client at the moment who I have given him one of my employees to help him. He's very busy. So you got anybody? I have employees in the Philippines, and I've sent them a guy. And what this guy is doing is he's got over 3,000 email addresses and first names, and he is manually from a webmail changing the first name in the email and sending it out. Copy paste, change the first name, copy paste, and he managed to do 300 yesterday, and he's hopefully he does 300 or 400 today, and so on. But I know I haven't had the opportunity to tell my friend this, but I know all of those emails are going into spam. So there's a real thing again. This Bananarama syndrome. Okay. So the omni-channel approach. Now, as you've probably gathered, all of these marketing efforts, or everything we're actually speaking about here on this webinar, they're all tied together. Nothing on its own actually works. They're called marketing pillars. So Edward was talking about the funnel, the getting interest, the buying process. I was saying about how the customer journey. All of these things go together. So we call that an omni-channel approach. So you may have pay-per-click, you may have paid advertising, you may do LinkedIn and email, but you probably need to do them all, right? If you're looking to scale your business, you need to do them all. And you need to experiment with A/B split testing and look at which advertisements or whatever you're doing is giving you the results. Now, I know companies, and you'd be surprised, you can research this, that have adverts in newspapers, and advertising in newspapers costs a lot of money. Half page, this big companies, and they advertise in maybe 50 or 100 different publications, magazines, newspaper, you name it, digital magazines, print, and they all have the same phone number. Okay, so now how do they know which magazine is actually giving them, or newspaper is actually giving them the return on their investment? Now, these are big companies that do this, and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds every month on this, and they don't know where they're getting their returns. There are simple solutions to this, but it's simple. I'll give you the solution: is add a tracking number each number in each advertisement is different. They cost about £1 a month. So you get 20, 30, 50, spend £50 a month. Each number has got its own tracking number. Whoever phones in from that number, or they call them vanity URLs. So you have URLs with specific names in them. They're called vanity URLs. So you know who somebody clicks is coming from that advertisement. Then you know, oh, this is. So then over time, you would reduce that and scale back on the ones that don't work and keep the ones that do, increasing your conversion rates and reducing your cost per acquisition. Okay. Obviously, you can use tools, CRMs, and all that sort of stuff. And there's loads of stuff that can really help you. But I hope that's valuable information. I think this one is for you.
No, indeed. There's a nice segue into that technology side of things.
Yeah.
We're talking about optimizing, your sales and your marketing strategy, and how to do this. Well, let technology help you with that. And there's a couple of things that we put on this slide. There's a whole plethora of things you can do to automate, and we haven't even, dove into the AI side of things. That is just another component that we can do in order to do this. And Andrew already talked about using AI to crafting messages and all those kinds of things.
Yeah.
But and again, I also like you're saying about tying it all together, because that's also here again. It doesn't make any sense to optimize your marketing and your sales strategy if you don't know who you're targeting. If you don't know the behaviors of your customer, then you're just shooting in the dark and hope that something will hit and that you can drag that home as a customer. So that's all important. And then you can start looking at using technology to optimize everything. So for instance, say CRM, and it sounds like an open door, but you'll be surprised how many organizations still are running without a proper CRM, or at least a system to centralize your customer data and all its interactions, so that you can track how your sales process is going. So you understand what part of the sales funnel this particular prospect is in. Because remember, that was important, because that depends on what kind of information you need to give this customer. For instance, if someone would walk into let's say an electronics company, and they may have a vague idea about they want a new television, a new color television. It's no good if they're at that stage. So they're still in the information state. So they have a bit of an awareness. They have now some interest, but you don't slap them around the ears with a detailed manual of how this latest XYZ TV set is working, because that's not what they are. So that goes for everything else as well. So you need to understand what they are, where they are, and the CRM can help you track where the customer is, what kind of communication has been with that customer, and you can then from there on see the intentions of what this customer is doing. Are they moving forward into the sales funnel or in their buying cycle, and what can we do in order to move them forward as helping them make that decision. And the same goes for marketing automation. We talked about sending out emails, mass email marketing, cold email marketing, but also phoning people and email campaigns. Of course, there are a lot of tools that can do this, and usually there's not even one tool, especially if you're doing a number of things. You may need to set up a stack of tools in order to help you do those kind of things. So we can certainly help you with that. And then the other part I wanted to highlight is the data analytics side of things, because you know where if you don't track everything that's happening and change your strategy based on the data that you're getting. Because obviously, when you start designing a strategy and you're making your ideal customer profile and you're setting up your messages, that's probably okay. But when you are going into the market, you will get data back. People will respond to your message, and you can see how people are reacting to your marketing communication. So use that data as well to fine tune your message, to fine tune your approach. And there are different tools for you to do this. And a last bit, and which is certainly not the least important one, and also not, this list is by far extensive. It's sales enablement. If you're doing this and growing your business, scaling your business, you want to make sure that your sales team and your marketing team are singing from the same hymn sheet, if you like. So you need to provide them with the resources that are relevant for them to kind of deliver that sales message, to give them like battle cards, like competitive information, and all kind of tools and information and resources to arm them with everything they need to help the customer move forward through their buying journey. So that's a bit on the tooling side. Let's move into scaling your operations and customer success.
Okay. I think this one is for me. Okay, so scalable operations. Now, again, so all of this you would think would make absolute perfect sense, but I think Edward mentioned this in the very first slide about, well, as you grow, you need to get more and more people. If you're in that type of business, if you are a plumber, for example, and you've got one van on the road, and you get more with 2 guys, and then you get another van and 4 guys, and another one, you've got 3 vans. By the time you've got 10 vans, and you're still charging the same price as you did when you had 1 van, you've forgotten about the operations guy who's looking after all the vans, the fleet management. If you've got 20 vans or 30 vans, you start growing, you need to look at operational efficiency. So part of operational efficiency is, looking at an overall business, looking at how efficient you can make it practically, the stuff that's staring you in the face. Can you do stuff with smaller vehicles or with less people? Can you provide service? We use AI to help us do this. Can you implement AI? That's sort of the stuff that would face in straight away. The other stuff that you would look at in your operational efficiency is repetitive tasks. So can you eliminate repetitive tasks? So you would have standard operating procedures, but you would review them consistently, because you may find if your organization is scaling up to over 100K a month, you'd like to think that you reach that pinnacle of 1.2 million. You should, if you've got all of this right, you've gone to 2, 4, and so on and so forth. But without the right foundations to do that, you're going to find that even though you may increase in turnover, you're probably going to increase your actual cost in your business, and your profit margins probably stay the same or even reduce. And I'm speaking from experience, because I've learned the hard way, where my company's growing really well, and found myself a couple of years into it. I went finding that I was better off when it was just me and about 10 guys. When I had over 300 contractors and close to about 500 or 600 vans on the road, I realized then the stress that I was having. I needed to have a real good look at what I was doing in my operational efficiencies. So getting to that size company is a different story, but I had to rewrite some operational software to allow me to track everything that was going on. But the point we're trying to make on this webinar is that it's super important to penny pinch and look at optimization wherever you go. Penny pinch, don't scale back on quality or service, but look at where you could be saving money. Is it necessary to actually manually send that email? I mean, it's a simple. Could it be automated? Is it necessary to phone that customer once a week, or could you just send a video of a progress report or something, so you don't waste half an hour saying, hi, how are the kids, how's the wife? It's every week. So here's your update, here's your video, bang. Your person that's working for you may do that for 10 clients. There's 5 hours a week he's saving. There's things like that, operational efficiency, and of course using software to do that. And with the onset of AI, this makes it very, very easy to, well, I wouldn't say easy to implement, but once it's implemented and you have your AI working for you, then it'll save you millions of pounds. I hope that's works for you. I'll just go on to the next slide. So here we are. We're talking about well, it's all the stuff that I've just said. Project management tools for the communication tools, enhance internal communication. That's a very good one. Making sure that everybody's on the same page. Operational efficiency also ties into sales. So if you have a team of salespeople, and Edward was talking about singing off the same hymn sheet, what if you have some salespeople who do really well? They're bringing in, whatever, loads of sales, and other salespeople who are not doing so well. Wouldn't it be great to have the techniques and the skills that those people who are doing really well passed over to the people who are not doing so well, so they can be taught? So operational efficiency is having a system where you've got the same sales scripts. You're monitoring, you're targeting, you're checking what's working, what's not working, who says what, who's reacting, how the customer's interacting with that salesman. How is that guy closing the deal and the other guy's not? So therefore you're operating your conversion rates. This is operational efficiency, just to bring up your conversion rates. But equally what happens in business, especially if you're paying salespeople on a commission, they'll overpromise your product, or perhaps they don't understand the intricacies of your product. So having operational efficiency within your product, the detail, what it actually does, what it costs, what the customer expectations are managed, leading to long-term retention, is back to operational efficiency. It's super important in a business that you're all singing from the same hymn sheet. Okay. So again, it's got the bottom here, outsourcing and partnerships. Now, of course, what we're speaking about in the last 50 minutes is a lot of stuff. It's certainly not something you implement overnight. It's a lot of food for thought. And it's what it's a little bit of a pitch now, I suppose, but it's what Edward and I do. We are growth partners, and we have a program where we implement and guide you through all of these things. We can implement all of these things for you and hand it over to you at the end of a period and say, right, here's your system. Here's all the stuff. This is how we do it. All the sales enablement, all the stuff we've been speaking about, we do that for you, and we hand it over to you after a period, and then you can run it yourself. So consider non-core activities, specialized focus on core competencies. So, our core competencies, from strategic partnerships, access to additional resources and expertise. So that's where we are pitching to help you. So not only that, we also have training courses, master classes on all of these subjects that we can provide to you if you're interested. It's something you just want to plod on yourself. So I'll hand you back over to Edward.
Yeah, good stuff. So customer success. I think I've already mentioned that before, where it's an important part of your growth strategy and your scaling. Because again, if you keep on pushing customers into your funnel and you manage to close them, but then at the same time you lose them within 3 months, that might even cost you money. There's a lot of especially in the whole SaaS system, if you look at the customer acquisition cost and the actual net margin that, for instance, delivering a product will give you, it sometimes takes between 3 to 6 months before this customer becomes profitable, which doesn't have to be a problem if you can deliver a service for more than 6 months. If you can keep them in for at least a year or more, then you make money out of that customer. So then it becomes a scalable model. So there is the role of customer success. It's really to make sure that the customer gets the ultimate value out of your product or service, and you keep a very strong relationship with them, and optimize. I wouldn't say maximize. I would say optimize your lifetime value of the customer.
Absolutely.
And the next bit that goes into there is basically making sure that your customer understands everything from your product and service, and maybe do some cross-selling or upselling if and there where necessary, And this is also where a lot of these, what I call land and expand strategies, will be implemented. So starting with a very small department within the customer, or solving one particular pain point within that customer, but then talking to them and implementing that service, you'll find out there's many more opportunities within that account that you can go and monetize on and help them even further so they become a big customer of yours. So what do you need to do? Well, of course, you need to build a stellar customer success team, because it's crucial to have a very good customer success team that will make sure that this is actually happening. So establishing and keeping a strong relationship and effectively optimize the lifetime value of that product. And also, don't underestimate that part of it. Your customer success team can also get crucial information from your customers about future roadmap, for instance, of your product or service. Because talking to that customer and understanding what their pain points are, they will tell you what they need in the future, and you can start looking at building that for them as well. Now, of course, building a customer success team, there are a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. Of course, hiring the right people. You've got to have people that have good communication skills. That's first of all, and having these problem-solving skills. So, service reps. That's typically a very good profile. But so yeah, hiring the right people there, and of course, you need to train them on your product and your service, but also on best practices, how to deal with customers, which is nothing else than, for instance, training your salespeople or training your marketing people. Now, you've got a couple of roles, and obviously, if you have a very small organization, this could be bundled into one person. But as you grow, you probably want to have a look at actual customer success managers that establish and keep the relationship with the customer. You have specific support specialists that are maybe even specialized on a certain part of your product or service. And then you can have onboarding coordinators that will actually do the onboarding of your customer. And then there is a couple of key metrics that you can keep track of in order to find out whether your customer success is working or not. So looking at indeed the Net Promoter Score and coming back on that customer lifetime value that are in there. And there is a couple of few other metrics in the 15 key metrics document that we will have for you after this call.
Yeah, great.
So I think we need to speed up a little bit because
yeah, absolutely.
5 minutes left. So let's
just jump on to that larger case study with a bit more detail.
Yeah, let's do that. So we've got a couple of case studies. You can see them later on in the slides. So the slides will be available for download, as well as this recording will be. So you can have a look at that. But let's spend a couple of minutes on this case study, Andrew.
Sure. So again, this is applying all of those things that we've spoken about. The text is a little bit small here. Should have made it a bit bigger, but this is for a company called the International Racing Club. And basically, their challenge was getting more. What they do is they own 40 or so international racehorses, and they bring VIP customers to the racing events. They have a very good network of sporting celebrities, so they hold dinners and networking events with these celebrities, and having all that sort of stuff. So they were struggling to get more subscribers for their horse racing events and bring people into these dinners for these celebrities. So by applying all of these things, it was breaking it down, and so process mapping and automation, standard operating procedures, enterprise resource planning, and project management and communication tools. So internal communication tools, looking at customer retention, all of that sort of stuff brought them up. I think there's some statistics here. So reduced the cost of acquisition by 18% to 98 quid per subscriber. The subscription, I think, was 100. No, it was more. It was $2.99 a month. So they're bringing on a person for £100 and getting a 200% return on that every single month. The churn rate decreased from 10% to 5%, which customer retention. the revenue, the monthly recurring revenue when we got involved was about 150,000. So within, I think it was 6 months or so, we increased that to 202,500. So up by 35% by implementing a few of these things. So we reduced the sales cycle length, and that was through client communication, people being on the phone, the email, all that sort of stuff, and offering urgency in the subscription, offering deals to go and have dinner with XYZ, really popular, famous sporting celebrities, and limited, maybe 12 people at a table and things like that. So people signing up. So those are the things that we've done. So they increased they sell apparel, sporting apparel, golf clubs, and all sorts of stuff, you name it. So they increased their sales by 25%. This is through the value content. And then they obviously gained more celebrity partnerships, so more experienced sports people. So yeah, that's a direct case study. By implementing those things, I think it was between 6 and 8 months, they increased their value and their monthly recurring revenue considerably. So these things do work, and it's just a matter of time and implementing them, banana syndrome, the way that you do it, and step by step, and making sure they all talk to each other.
I love that. Banana syndrome. Yeah, great. Okay, thanks. So I think we're getting to the end of the event. So all of you, thank you very much for listening in. I hope we were able to provide you with some good insights and maybe some ideas to help you scale your business. I'm afraid we don't have a lot of time for Q&As. We will get back to people that have posted their questions to us one-on-one. So don't worry, if you put in your question, then we'll get back to you in the next day. And I'd like to close with a couple of things. First of all, scaling is not easy, and don't go it alone. Use people like Andrew and myself, but there are plenty of others as well there that will help you scale your business. There's so many moving parts there, and there's so much stuff you can do that getting a partner in there is a no-brainer. Having said that, so if you're interested in engaging with us, then by all means, feel free to reach out. You can get the slides from this presentation. You can also get that key metrics list for download, and we'll even have the recording ready for this. So we'll post that in this group as well. And if you want to have a free strategy session, go ahead and schedule that there as well, or reach out to Andrew and myself, and we'll be happy to talk to you about how we can help you scale.
Anything. Yeah, that's right. And look, we also have a document, a 54-page document on how to create a value proposition, which took up quite a big chunk of the beginning of this presentation. So that's a guide. We can give it to you if you write to us, email us, or go to the website there, mygrowthhack.com/100K. We'll send that out to you as well if you would like that. But yeah, if you need anything at all, you don't have to engage with our services. You don't have to pay us. If you just want to have a chat, if we can help in any way, then please get in touch.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul. And we'll be hearing from you soon. Take care.
Okay. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.